Well, let me get started with my name, Karmen, is spelled with a K, and I was named after my father. His name was Kermit Earl Barkhurst, and so they named me Karmen Erla Barkhurst.
Interesting.
My dad was born in 1912, April 6th, in Silverton, Oregon, and I was born in Silverton also March 1st, 1952. And my mom is Celia Frances Hands, and she was born up in Granger, Washington, May 9th, 1917. My dad was in prison at the time that I was born, and my mom and him had already been married probably 3 times to each other. And,
oh, wow.
And they had this codependent relationship, and he was told that, he was going to have they thought was his first child, but I was actually his second. But my mom had already had other children prior to me. There are 7 children in my family, but the part of the complexity is that as my mother was having all these children, they weren't all from my dad. They were from many different men, and we were all at different times in our life given away or farmed out to either family members or adopted out. So the hard part is for me to talk about is that my mom was a prostitute, and my father knew that. And they, during World War, then when we get into more the World War II era, which was, I was a baby boomer, so I was right after that. A lot of women, including the women in my mother's family, there were 7 girls and 2 boys, it was fairly common at the time that the women would go into prostitution where there was work. And I don't know how all of my aunts and my mother handled it, but I had an impression later on in my adult life that my mother wasn't really offended by it. I think she enjoyed some of it. She married some of the men, and
Well, and I would imagine that she was growing up through the Depression too.
Yeah.
And that would have been probably one of her only means to support her family, right?
And sadly also, she had been abused as a child by one of her oldest brothers. And so that affected her life too in the direction that she went towards that part of her life. In Yakima Valley, they worked in the fruit picking business, packing sheds, and it was tough. It was really tough.
Oh, wow.
But the piece that the good part that is of this story that I want to end up with is that when I was 15 and on my own, and I got into the hippie movement, I was doing the drugs and stuff, the party stuff. I never got hooked into any of the, stuff that people are into now. But it was just mostly party stuff. And I was trying to finish school. I moved down to California and stayed with my oldest sister for just a little while. And I met a group of young people called Action Life. And they were in the Jesus People movement. And it was kids just like myself meeting at a person's home. And they were singing and giving their testimony, playing instruments. And these were kids that were all the same background as me.
Really?
And
wow.
They asked at the end, during the time that we were together, does anyone want to ask Jesus into their heart?
Aww.
That was when I got saved. Nice. And my whole life turned around completely. And from that point on, I never did drugs again. Ended up, going to college and meeting my husband. I have 3 kids of my own, and I helped raise 2 stepsons, and now 2 of my boys are pastors. And,
wow.
And they're all doing well, and I can tell you that the generational curse in my family ended.
Nice.
It ended, and it was, I have to give credit to the Lord Jesus Christ in my life.
Yeah.
He turned my life around, and because of that, my kids all got saved. I can't say my husband got saved. He just died recently. But we decided not to, live our life the way our parents had. And so all of my kids are doing really well, and I've got 12 grandkids. I have my own home. I've everything I've been blessed with. It's just so great.
Well, and I have been blessed sitting here learning and talking to you. It's been really great, Karmen. Thank you for choosing me to do this with you.
Thank you for listening.